Did everybody hear that?
Yep.
Si, senor.
Cool. Okay, let's get straight into it. Kia ora and welcome to the Machinist Therapy Hotline. Believe it or not, it has been a wee while because the four of us have been away on Easter Island tending the needs of turtles that have been injured. Or we've just been a bit lazy and incapacitated in some description. Anyway, I want to introduce the team. Tony Klosser.
Hey, how's it going, folks? Been a long time. Hope we can fill your ears with magical joy.
Danny Rudolph.
What's up, fellas? Wide awake here.
Brilliant. And Shane Paul.
How's it going?
I'm not really sure what's going on there at all.
Where was the regular yo? You weren't there, bro.
Yo. I'm
There
over
it
here
is.
trying to figure out how I can hear myself. I don't want to talk too loud because the kids are going to go to bed soon. And I'm hiding here in the bedroom.
Oh, you sound perfect right now.
You do sound perfect.
I'll just
And-
try to maintain this
Let's get on with the podcast, shall we?
And me, Jody Tuckwell, here, Machinist Therapy Hotline. So, let's get on with the podcast. Yeah.
Cast.
Bring it.
Hey, I was going to kick this off and go, hey, why don't we talk about the year that was? But you know what? Fuck that. Let's talk about what's coming. Let's talk about things that are happening in the future. You know, a lot of people, they start off the year with like going, oh, I'd like to talk about all these great little things that happened and there'll be these other stuff. I think we should let's just buck the trends. Let's just talk about other. Go on in. Tony.
I have a question, and I'm hearing what you're putting down there, bro.
Okay.
But I can't really remember when the last podcast was, and I know there's a lot of shit that's happened to all of us since the last podcast. So maybe there's some stuff we should talk about, maybe not. But I mean, I really can't recall. What was the last thing we did? Did anybody research it? Because I fucked off and I didn't research it.
I'm not sure. I think
eyes forward.
you know what someone says to me? He said you should look in the windscreen, not the rearview mirror.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm happy to look in the rearview mirror for a little bit if we want to talk about some cool stuff that's definitely happened since the last time we recorded, which could have been, I don't fucking know, maybe it was July?
I don't know either, man.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
it was August.
Oh my God, so much has happened since then.
I get messages all the time. Where are you guys? When are you going to do another one?
Well, Sandra, funny, because Sandra today, we were in the truck driving to go get some goat food, and she said, she goes, it was really cool when Tony put up that post it's asking, should we be doing another podcast? And she goes, I was really impressed with all of the comments that came on Tony's posts. And I went, yeah, me too. She goes, I even laughed when I saw the one dude that said, you should definitely get Jody's wife back on with no clothes on. And you know what she said? She goes, if that means you'll get more listeners, I'm in.
Hey, here we go.
Damn. No,
Damn, Daniel.
There was a lot of feedback on that, surprisingly.
Yeah. And look, we're not going to apologize for not doing the podcast. We're all busy people. We try to do this just out of fun. Of course we'd like to do it more regularly. It is what it is. So we'll record when we can record, and if everybody still wants to listen, great. Because most of the time it's us rambling, really. But I think there's some good content in there as well.
Yeah, it just proves that we all have lives, and we're all taking care of business, and we're all trying to take care of family and machining and everything else. And it's like if we didn't have nothing else to do with our fucking lives, we'd make a podcast every week.
Yeah,
we're not like that.
Is there anyone in particular that you're thinking of?
No, I don't think that are.
Good. I'm just shitting you.
I don't think we have talked since last. No, IMTS. I mean, we all missed that, but I had some feedback from some friends and said, yeah, it's booming, but I don't know if it was booming like when we were there booming. But did you guys get any feedback? I mean, what was your friends saying about IMTS? Was it worth going or not worth going? I mean, when I heard Sandvik wasn't going, I said, fucking shit the bed. I ain't gonna spend the money on an airplane to go over there and see half-ass show.
Yeah. Well, I the feedback I got was that it was a different show, you know, in terms of, I don't know, not the same, I don't know, big gusto sort of stuff. It was a bit more sedate, but yet maybe that gave people more opportunity to discuss a bit more things with people.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I feel like without...
You still remember the first time that we met in the Sandvik booth, and you grabbed that big old fucking silent bar. You're all, yeah, we got B Krebs to take our fucking picture. You hold it like a big old donkey dick, and he's like, "What am I doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." Yeah, that was pretty awesome, man.
That was awesome.
And I go, "This
That's
is
about
Jody."
par for the course.
I tell you, will IMTS, you know, ever be the show it was again?
I don't
do you
know.
think?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
What's your take on it, Dan?
I've never been, so it will be for me if I
What
go.
the fuck, Chuck?
Man, what a chump! Why not? Why?
I heard that it probably won't. You know, you used to get all these people that came over from all different countries and presented their stuff, whether it was good or bad. But that's the thing. I mean, you couldn't see it, Jody. We couldn't see it in 2 days, or you know, you need at least 3 days, and by then you're fucking so beat, you just didn't really want to see anything else anymore. But that was the cool part about it. I don't know. I think, in my mind, I think probably 2018. Well, what it did break records was probably one of the best of the best.
The pinnacle.
I can't remember if you were there or your face was there. Was it your face?
I think my face was there. I couldn't
Yeah,
come.
you went to Sandvik. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But you know, maybe it was a good thing to have a change up with what it was, you know, because it's one of those. It's when this is from somebody that does not live in the United States, you know. Right. It's kind of interesting because it's called, you know, an international manufacturing and technology show. And yet when you go there and say, "Oh, I'm from New Zealand," they're like, "Oh, okay, that's not America. Well, we're probably not going to sell you anything." So they're less likely to spend as much time with somebody from New Zealand than they would do if it was one of you three guys in terms of talking to somebody about a product. That was the thing.
I've been to a lot of trade shows, and you are correct. First thing is, if your badge says owner or partner or CEO or whatever, everybody stops what they're doing. They want to fucking talk to you. If it says janitor, like, hey, have a nice show, and it kind of ushers you along. And it's like, I mean, I've done that once at a local show just for fun, you know, janitor. And that's all those guys do is read what's on your badge. And you're right. So therefore, if you're not from United States, and like, well, whatever, this is going to be a waste of time. But I don't know. I mean, it's key what you're saying about how these guys first interact with you and then how much they're going to talk with you. I believe you're correct.
Which is interesting because, like I said, it's an international show, right? And whether that just means that it's, you know, the suppliers are international or whether the participants are international, you're going to have a mix of people. But when you're walking through the show, there's, like I say, when you're from New Zealand, there's two things. One, it's almost like having a VIP status in some regards. They go, "Oh, you're from New Zealand," and they just want to talk about New Zealand. You go, "Well, I'd like to really talk about this machine or this chuck or whatever," you know. Or the second part is when you do start talking to somebody and then they see that you're from New Zealand, that you can see the cogs going, right, how is this conversation going to lead to a sale of what our product is? But the reality is they're probably more likely to get a sale from somebody like me because we have fucking nothing in New Zealand. So, you know, literally everything that we buy is international. Like everything is imported in some way or form. And, you know, there's quite a lot of American companies that I use as suppliers because they've got a good product. I still get a good lead time, even though it takes sometimes 3 to 4 weeks for something to get here. But when there's nothing else here, I've got no other choice. So if you are a supplier, that is attending IMTS, like, in the next 2 years, be mindful of some of the international people, because especially people like myself, where we don't have access to the same stuff that you guys do. That, you know, I can't just walk down the road and see Alfred and go, hey, I'd like make this cutter for me. You know, those supply chains are actually pretty important as well from an international perspective. So that was my rant. Sorry.
True.
Well, you boomer, you're not saying much, man. You're just thinking.
Oh, I've been trying to, but I keep getting talked over. So I was gonna say, I'd imagine half of the people are trying to wonder if they even have any sort of sales or inroads into New Zealand.
What do you mean?
As far as like salespeople at the show.
No, you actually have to use an airplane, I think.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I wonder if half of them are like, can we even sell down there? Do we have a distributor down there? Do we have a rep down there? Like,
True.
But I mean, in this day and age where you can literally buy anything online, right? You know, and it can be delivered to your door. To still have that sort of mentality, I think is crazy. You know, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. The sales game's kind of weird. A lot of the guys are very territorial about their stuff. We had an issue with getting some certain tools where one distributor was in a pissing match with the other distributor on who had the rights to sell to us or whatever, and it was like a weird thing. So I can imagine internationally it's probably a little complicated too.
You'd think it'd be the other way, wouldn't you? That, you know, if there was a like, let's just say you got one product in the United States and yet there are 20 distributors. In theory, any one of those 20 distributors could sell me that one product. It's just sort of first in, first serve.
Yeah.
I mean, from my point of view, I could see how like they might not want to figure out how to sell to you, like the paperwork and for one chuck or whatever. It's like, whatever. Not
true.
It gets super touchy though. I mean, when I first started my business, I was making the same part that I was making for the company that I worked down in Santa Rosa, and so I made this, you know, relationship with this guy from George from Gibson Tool in Carson City, Nevada, and we're buying PH1 from him. And so that when I moved up to my shop and did my own, I reached out to George, and George said, sure, I'll hook you up. And so then a local guy came in and said, where are you getting your PH1 from? And I said, from George from Carson City, Nevada. He's like, well, he can't sell you that. I said, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're not in his territory. I'm like, well, fuck, he's been delivering it to me. He's like, well, it's not the way it's supposed to be. And I was like, well, I mean, we had a relationship and I'm not sure who the fuck you are, whether the prices are even going to be the same. But I mean, what Shane is saying is exactly right. They get touchy. I don't know what the rules are, but if you have a relationship with a guy that you use and that you like and he can sell you stuff, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure somewhere somebody could break it down. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be buying that shit from Nevada and bringing it into California. I don't know.
It's hard because you're right, because you might actually have, you know, you make a connection with somebody that you know has got a good technical head, they can give you the right level of support, but yet just because they're not in their sales area means that they then can't sell it. Also means that you might be less likely to then buy that product because it's not well supported.
True. You know, and way back when I started my shop, and things were obviously different when I had my ex-business partner, Neil, paying all the bills. I just bought everything that I fucking wanted and I needed. And so at the time, a Sandvik CNMG 433 2025 MR was like $693. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. You get four corners and then it goes up a little bit, goes up a little bit. Yesterday, I clicked on one on MSC because I needed some overnight because my guy came up to me and says, we don't have any more of these. I'm like, oh, fuck. $20.25 for a fucking CNMG. I go, you got to be fucking kidding me.
That'll be though, because you're the person or the company where you're currently buying your Sandvik stuff. They'll have you on some tiered discount rate, right? You'd be like a tier 2 or whatever it is, you know,
Yeah,
and then
that's
MSC is like RRP. That's you're just
Yeah.
paying what it is.
It is.
It's like
the
list plus
emergency
10%.
backup. Yeah, yeah, it is emergency backup. But it's like I go to my local guys and hey, DGI, and I'm like, hey, look, you know, I had a contract with the first sales guy and a contract with the second sales guy, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing your prices go up too. And like, yeah, we're working on that. Sandvik's just doing what they want to do. They didn't even tell us. They just raised everything. And I'm like, you know, now that me and Katie are running the whole show by ourselves and I'm watching everything, it's like, fuck, you know, every time I order a part off insert, it's gone up. And you know, I love fucking Hankster's oil, but holy shit, it's gone up a shit ton too. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's like, and I ask, and it's like, oh, you know, it's the way it is right now. It's inflation. Everything's up. And I don't know if big companies are using that just because everybody can use it, or if it's really costing that much. But I mean, I used to get one drum shipped from Livermore up to my shop. It was $75 on a pallet, and now it's up to $150 a pallet.
Whoa!
So it'd be stupid for me to order one drum. I'll put as many pallets as I can on that. I'm putting drums on that pallet as I can. At least get 2 or maybe 3. But it's like, fuck, every time you think you're going to make a little bit of money, and then all of a sudden everybody's just skyrocketing the shit. Only thing I've seen come back down a little bit is the price of material. But then you have the problem of getting material. Aluminum seems to be easy to get right now, but as Danny would know, fucking stainless steel screw machine stock. I had some on order since last July, and I might see it in February.
Yeah, a couple of sizes came back, but a couple are, especially the smaller stuff's like impossible to get.
Yeah, I don't know what they're blaming that on. I mean, I know we went through what we went through last year with the, you know, problem with Swiss steel over there, but I mean, how long is the backlog to get things flowing again? And I don't know. Every time I run into this shit, I go, oh, they must be working from home in their pajamas.
I tell you now, though, the one thing there'll be definitely companies that they're taking this as a great opportunity to raise prices because you know if everything's going up, put your prices up because everybody then just goes, oh well, it is what it is. You know, they just that's the excuse. It is what it is.
Not everybody. A lot of people do, but when I try to pass the buck on to my customer,
yeah,
whoa, you're supposed to be doing yearly cost reduction.
So you could say, well, look, you could go the other way and go, well, the costs have risen by 10%, but I'm only going to raise yours by 6%, so I've saved you 4%.
That's true. Even my rent goes up every year. I mean, it's on the contract. It's going to go up the same amount every year, plus the deposit. I'm like, that's a good point, Jody. I should probably present them to it like that.
Yeah, see how that works.
I'm saving them money.
Yeah, I would say, looks like your prices are going up, but actually they've gone down. I think that would work. That's the kind of thing I'm sure.
If I had your accent, it might work. I don't think they're gonna buy from you or Hank, though.
Ah, true. Yeah, man. True. If Hank goes in there with his attitude, whew, I reckon you're gonna be in trouble.
Probably.
And how is business going, Dan? You got a lot of work still on your books?
Yeah, we're busy. Yep. Yeah. I have stuff out through June at this point. And
you're still waiting for another machine? Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah.
Wow. Where are you going to put that one?
I don't know.
The air compressor room? How is the new air compressor, though, by the way? That looks badass.
Yeah, that thing's awesome. Yeah, we love it.
Really? I saw that actually Albert got one of those delivered. His was not tied in the truck, and it was kind of like slamming from side to side. It looked like he took a picture of it.
Yeah, I'm assuming you didn't take that off the truck, did he?
I don't know. I'm hearing that those are good compressors, though.
Yeah, it's quiet, runs, does good. So, love it.
It's quiet and it runs. Oh, man. It's ticking every box.
Yeah.
Man, you got so much to say, Danny. Can you stop talking, please? It's quiet and it runs.
It's just, yeah. Man, he's burning my ears.
How's the price compared to Kaiser?
It was, let me think here. I think it was like half of what the Kaiser competitor was.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was like
That's big.
a no-brainer.
And this is American made, right?
It's the compressor is Belgian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it looks good. It looks like the same kind of build style as the German Kaiser. There's not a whole lot of difference there.
Why did you switch to that brand?
Um, we wanted to get a bigger compressor, so we went from like we had two 7.5s and a 5 horsepower, and then we wanted to get a 20. So we spec'd out the Kaiser 20 variable speed because sometimes our demand is changing a lot. And they were like, yeah, you don't really want to get a variable speed. Like everyone was talking us out of it. And which kind of like didn't instill confidence because that's what we wanted. And then we had the Atlas Copco guys in and they were like, yeah, this thing will do good for you. And we can get it here. I think it only took a couple weeks. Kaiser was like, at the time, Kaiser was like 6 months, I think. And then like twice the price, 6 months. And then we would have had to get a step up transformer to go from 208 to 480. And we're like, I don't want to do that. And the Atlas Copco had that built in. So it just took 208.
I didn't even know there was until like last year something called a variable speed compressor until one of the guys asked me, one of my a colleague here in town says, well, what kind of, well, actually, I hit you up first before I bought my Kaiser, and then I hit these guys up too because I knew what they had, and they had a couple, but they also bought a variable speed. And he asked me what I was going to buy, and I go, "What the fuck is a variable speed?" He goes, "Well, it only runs as hard as you're going to run. There's no reason to pump all that hard air if you're not even actually using it." I'm like, he goes, "But they are kind of pricey." And so yeah, when I looked into that, I was like, "No, that's not for me yet." But yeah, it was a big difference.
Yeah. And they were like talking about like the drive, like if you don't run it hard enough, the drive isn't gonna hold up or whatever. I was like, well, like all of our CNCs have drives in them, so I don't know what the difference is. But yeah, it just like the cool thing is it holds, we set it for 125 and it's like 123 to 127. It just kind of fluctuates in between there. Whereas the Kaisers, we set them like a wide range so they can like come on at different times. And so our air pressure will be dropping down to like 90 and then up to 125 and then down to 90. And then whereas the Copco is just holds it at 125 all day. And if we use more air, it just makes more air.
Wow. Cool.
So are you still using all the air compressors together, or are you just running that one?
So we run the variable speed during the day, and then when we if I just have a couple machines running overnight, like the robo drill with the robot, we'll kick one of the Kaisers on, and then shut the Copco down, and then we still have all three Kaisers, but we'll switch between them and kind of run them out a little bit each night.
That's kind of what I do on the weekend too. I run the Kaiser during the week, and then on the weekend I run my old Chicago pneumatic just to give it a break and make sure it still functions properly.
Yeah, it's working pretty good.
Cool. And I saw, did you get another UR robot the other day as well?
Yeah, we got a UR3. We have a little inspection cell I'm putting together. So we got a new Cognex camera that can supposedly pick out defects on parts. Just you feed it images of the defects, and then it kind of does some machine learning, and then it'll make its own determinations on future parts. So we're trying that out. I didn't get a whole lot of time to work on that yet, but that robot will feed the camera parts to look at.
Wow.
What kind of defects are you talking about?
Yeah.
Defects.
And what's the resolution on it? Like, because you make parts that you can't even see.
Yeah. So I think we had to get the biggest sensor one. I think it was a 8 megapixel, I think, something like that. But it's like the biggest one they make. And the part we're doing is like 16 millimeters long and like 4 millimeters diameter. So we're trying to get the whole thing in the view. So we have like a lens that focuses just on the part itself. And then we're looking for like any nicks or dents or burrs on a thread or any like chips wrapped around the part. And then they did a demo for us, and we gave them some samples that had defects, and they fed it into the camera, and then we gave them a couple more parts, and then they looked at them and like it picked it up. So it should be pretty promising.
That's kind of amazing. Like, does it turn the part? Like, I mean, how does it? Is it like a?
The camera doesn't, but the robot's going to set the part on just like a little turntable, and then the turntable will be spinning at like a pretty slow speed. But then we'll just start taking pictures, and then for like maybe a second or two, and then we'll get maybe 5-6 pictures, and then the camera will tell the robot, pick it up, and then if it's bad, it'll move it to the scrap. If it's good, it'll put it in the good pile.
Cool.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That is actually fucking cool, man. I'd love to see that going.
Yeah, me too. I gotta build
it. And how's your big boy robots going, Jody?
Pretty good. Yeah, I've got another 2 coming. So I've got another R2000 coming. That should arrive this month. We won't install it straight away because I've still got to move all of the machines out of the old shop into the new shop yet. So there's still quite a lot of stuff to fuck around with. But we've also ordered quite a big robot, which is the M900 IB, which is got a 700 kilo capacity. So that's about 1,500 pounds you can pick up. So it's a real big sucker, and the idea is I want to put it in front of the LU45, and all of the work that we're currently doing that's got 2 ops, we want to start setting up all the work holdings so we can do like true turnaround jobs, but use the robot for accuracy. So that'll be a really good project. But the reality is that that's going to take probably half a year to really get it to work as I intend.
So I mean, I've seen pictures of you running around doing dances in the new building with the beautiful floor. It looks amazing. So you're telling me that you're going to take some equipment out of the old building and move it into there? I was under the impression that you were going to fill that full of like new stuff, but I never asked, so I really didn't know what the fuck was going on. But why would you vacate the old building and go into the new building? So
the old building is grungy as it's the floors are fucked. There's much, it's far more limited space. So at the moment we've got an older shop, then a newer shop, and then the new shop. So where all the NTXs and robots are at the moment, that will pretty much stay as is. So we've got the 2 LU45s, then we got the 3 NTXs, the LU35 and the MB. And the idea is most of those machines will be robot tended in some capacity. Then the new shop, I'm probably gonna ditch a couple of machines they're really at the end of their life. They've easily paid for themselves. It's that whole, when you just don't want to let go of something, but that you have to because, and this, like with your, when you got your LT2000, like the difference in a machine that's 20 odd years old to a machine that's today, you're talking like a 30% decrease in cycle time. So,
oh yeah,
so having that mentality and saying, right, we've got a nice new shop, let's lay it out so that it really enables people to flow better and workflow. Like, because the old shop is just historical, like everything's laid out not really perfectly. So yeah, we've sort of designed a layout. We'll start shifting machinery in the next 2 weeks, but I'm sort of putting them into areas, a short bar feed, gantry load, some manual stuff with automation, and we'll just carry on like that. And then the old shop as it stands will become more for offline processing, packing, stock, and a more centralized, dedicated tool store for distribution of tooling and everything else. Because at the moment it's still a little bit sort of free for all, and I want to lock that in because there are times when I just feel like, when it's a shop that big, even though I think I'm pretty regimented with controlling the tooling and stuff, it can still feel like it's out of control. You know what I mean? Like, when you suddenly go, why have we got, I don't know, X amount of broken boring bars, for example, which sounds terrible when you say it like that, but when you got 40 odd machines and people running 24/7, anything happens, and not the way in which something happens doesn't always come out. So I want to try and screw that down a wee bit, just so not to sort of finger point too much, but just really to understand, well, why are things going wrong? How are we going to make it better? How can I improve on what we're currently doing? So I really hope that we're able to do that. I'd be pretty pissed off if, we talk about this in a year's time and we haven't made some significant improvements, like for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, other than you have a new shiny floor.
Yeah, nice new shiny floor.
That place looks beautiful, by the way. So you're no plans to revamp the old building. It's just to utilize it for what it is right now.
Yeah, no, we will. I'll do some dedicated walkways, and the idea is I'm going to keep all forklifts out of the shop completely, and only have them in the store area. So I'll do like a material delivery drop-off zone, and then we got these really cool electric like pallet trucks that have got like a high lift range, and they can pick up fucking heaps of weight, man. Like they're actually really good, nice and quiet, and you don't need to have heaps of skilled people to try and maneuver stuff around because it's just a pallet truck, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if one of the guys might flush it down the toilet. I mean, who knows? But we'll hopefully get around that. But yeah. So there's like I say, there's a lot of work to do. I've got to move the entire inspection area as well. So I've got to demolish that big building that is currently housing all the CMMs, and then rebuild that down in the shop. So
wait, is that fairly new? The building that you put up, the CMMs? I thought so.
Yeah.
I saw that like on your feed like about a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, it is just 3 walls. It's not like it's, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I do.
So and all the stuff is just it's the planning portion of it. Keeping like the CMM in calibration. So you get to that point where you go, geez, if I calibrate, if I follow the full manufacturer's calibration, great. However, I'm trying to delay it a wee bit because I know that I'm going to have to move all those CMMs and then do it again. So I've been trying to hold off, and I'm probably a little bit on the late side now, but so I might have to bite the bullet, and it is what it is. But it's just an extra cost that seems unnecessary.
Yeah, kind of like backing into your own garage. But hey, we pulled that off on a weekend, right?
We sure did, man. It was awesome.
It was way awesome.
Hey, Shanus, what have you been doing? What's going on in the world of fluid transfer systems for rockets?
Just plugging along, man. We're looking at getting another Citizen M5 32, and I think we're gonna have to upgrade it to 38 millimeter. So that's in the pipeline, and just been trying to hustle on the Integrexes. We lost a couple people to another shop, and then they left there and they went to other shops, and then one of them tried to come back, and it was just kind of like a weird situation. So just trying
Can I ask you, did they leave because of pay or did they leave because of environment?
I think it was a combination. I think part of it was pay, and I think it was also they could go make, much less stressful stuff.
Oh.
For basically the same money.
I see.
And it was more of I don't know, it's not for everybody, making, 2, 3, 5 parts. And you know how it is. You get, one extra piece of material or something. And I mean, when you came, I showed you around, you saw a lot of our prints and the tolerances and what material we're working with. And so it's just real stressful. And like I said, if guys can make the same money making stuff that's, plus or minus 15 on everything, then they're probably going to go do that.
Yeah,
So
you're right. So the new Citizen that you got coming, is that, I'm not familiar with what the model is. Is that one with the turret, like the last one I
yeah,
saw?
yeah, it's one with a
Nice.
turret. So we have two L20s, a Type 12 and a Type 10. So one has the programmable B axis, the other doesn't. And then we have the M32, and it has the turret in it and everything. And
Mm.
we're looking at getting another one to run similar parts as the other machine, but just like one line size bigger.
I see.
Yeah.
How you guys doing on trying to get your stock for the screw machines? Has it been easy, or has it been hard to come across?
The stuff for the M32, it runs 1 inch condition A 316L, and that we haven't really had a problem with. The two L20s are running condition B 316L, and that's been a real pain in the ass to try to get. And we even talked to a couple different mills and said, look, we'll buy the whole run. We
Yeah.
want to do a whole run of condition B 316L, and have it straightened and ground and everything, and they just said no.
Yeah, aren't they dicks
So,
sometimes? I just like,
well,
you ask and you're like, we'll place a blanket order. No, I don't understand it. It's weird.
I don't know what it is about trying to find this condition B stuff, but I even posted about it on LinkedIn, and I had, you know, six material supply chain professionals hit me up on there and ask, what exactly is it you need and the quantity. And I told them, and just didn't hear back from any of them.
Imagine
when
that.
I gotta ask, because I obviously don't buy any material anywhere.
Hey, you
So
make your own.
yeah, so condition B, like what does that mean?
I think it's just a different heat treat or a different temper or something on it. I honestly don't, I couldn't tell you. I know it's got a higher yield strength than condition A.
Right.
And we used to make these parts out of condition A, and then when the customer would torque them into wherever they go, it was shearing off at the thread relief. And so then all we did was switch to condition B, and then that problem went away. And just trying to get it in straightened and ground has just been a pain in the ass. And they're running 7/8, which is kind of, an oddball size. And so we even tried to get 1 inch, and we couldn't source it anywhere.
I
So,
think what
I
you're
mean,
saying
Tony,
is that
Tony heard our bar feeders.
yeah, I almost had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, we on our brand new L20, it was like 2 or 3 weeks. We basically destroyed a channel set
Oh
in
my
it.
God.
Yeah, it's been real rough, and the bars will like vibrate out of the pusher collet,
Yeah.
and then you start getting parts that are short. And
Yeah, you don't
so,
want that.
no, it's been rough going, just trying to get, some decent material. And it's like I even carry, I mean, well, you've been to our shop. We have that tenant still in the middle, and
Mhm.
I carried like 2 bars all the way to the other side to the owner's office, and was
Oh,
showing
you
her.
rolled
And
that one on the floor, huh?
yeah, I rolled it across the floor, and the thing's just lobing across the floor. One wouldn't even, unless you really
Roll.
kicked it full rotation, like. And this is the crap we're trying to run.
Well, you've seen
So
some of the deliveries I've gotten in the fucking truck with the fucking L hook on the end of them, because
yeah.
they've got these kids that are strapping this shit to the side of the wall in the trailer going, we can make more room. I'm like, whoever you guys are that are drinking freaking Modelo's at night and strapping this shit to the walls of the trucks, when the guys have to drive, they bring it to me and they roll up the door. They go, you're not going to like this. I go, well, I'm not feeling great about that conversation. What do you got? And they show me. I'm like, oh my God. But to go back a little bit further about the different condition A's and B's and stuff, I think it's just a small tweak to the recipe, because I mean, we've all ran 316, we've all ran 316L, And when I run the parts for Parker, the ultra pure semiconductor material, it's a 316L, but it's their own blend called Vericlean, where they add more nickel content to it. And it's like, there's no pockets, forces, or anything. I mean, it's super expensive,
Yeah.
and it's all recipes, basically all it is.
I think
Right.
I think that stuff you run too, because I was talking to our other owner slash head engineer about it, how it's this special blend. And he said he's heard of stuff that they use for semiconductor where they're like the furnace that they melt it in is like in a vacuum. He called it arc vac remelt or something, and they just take 316L and then remelt it in a vacuum or something.
Yeah,
Pretty
Wow.
gnarly
right.
stuff, man.
It's funny because just I guess it's just the way it sounds when you go condition B. I automatically thought, it's not as good as condition A. Just I know that's retarded, but you know what I mean. It's just
It's not. I mean, it's kind of like how you'd wake up in the morning after 8 beers versus 12. What condition is Jody in, A or B?
generally C, but that's fine.
Well, it's gotten to the point that now we've asked the customer to use their influence to try to get us some, because I mean they draw a hell of a lot more water than we do. Some little shop in Lincoln, California. So we'll see what happens with that. And I think we took a couple bars and sent them to some place for straightening, and they said they were able to get it down to I think it was like 3,000 per foot or something.
Because the standard was the manufacturer's, or sorry, the bar feeder manufacturer's specs is no more than 0.5 millimeter per meter, right? If you go above that, then you're basically wasting your time.
Yeah, I have no clue what their spec is. Like I said, it's louder than hell though.
Shit.
Hey,
It don't sound right. It sounds like somebody left and Hank is in charge. That's what it
Hey,
sounds like.
Yeah.
Tony, I saw was it today or yesterday? You had a post and it looked like you were engraving some stuff on the mill. You were
I was doing a heat lot and our vendor number on that.
Are you I remember, whatever it was that we all got together and talked. You were talking about going, okay, you need to get into some CAD CAM baby stuff, and you were maybe thinking about doing a bit of learning. Like, did you progress any more from that, or did you think about it more, or?
Yeah, I've kind of reached out and talked to a few people, a couple of projects that were coming on. Oh my God, was I surprised how much it was? I mean, back in 2006, I bought a basic lathe package, mill package, so I could, post and do CAD CAM. It was $6,500. Last year, at the end of the year, I got 2 new machines here now, and so I wanted to get a CAD CAM system for the new LT2000 2T MYX and then the Nomura, and I got a quote back for 27 grand, and I'm like, holy fuck knuckles. And so I reached out to some of the people, and they're like, yeah, that sounds about right. I'm like, that sounds about right.
That's
Jesus
what it is
Christ.
these days, man.
That I didn't know that, Shane. I was like,
Yeah.
holy fuck. So yes, I've yet to do that. I do as much as I can by hand. There's a few people left that we share favors, but it's going to boil down to it where I'm going to need to, and it's expensive as fuck.
If you're doing the same parts, we could probably write you a sweet macro to change the heat lot number, and then all you got to do is just change it, in one spot in the code, and then it just goes.
We'll see. That's why I was over there marking them on the Haas, because the Haas does that by itself. You just put in parentheses what it is, and it fucking spits it out in a heartbeat, that's cool. I do heat lots on all my rest of my bodies, which it's a stamp machine, air activated, but this one's delicate on the edge, and it's supposed to be kicked down to the lower section so they could put their part number above my heat lot number. So that's kind of why I set up the stop and did it like I did. But yeah, I was really surprised with what CAD CAM costs these days. But it seemed like nobody else was even better than I. And I was just like, it just kind of proves how out of the loop I am and how old I am when I bought in 2006 versus 2022, 23.
Do you think though that's also what highlights the popularity of like Fusion 360, where you've got, there's like, at the beginning there's this free software, there are add-ons or whatever, and the people that have got one or two machines don't really want to go and spend $30,000 on a cam software when maybe there's one that will do the majority, but there's still tweaking. I mean, there has to be something in there, because you're right that the industry itself, everybody just goes, like, for example, we have a spree for running the NTXs. One, because as soon as you do it, it just works. You know what I mean? And when you've got a machine that's so expensive, it just seems like, well, you don't want to take any risks whatsoever. And that really come from a recommendation from Shane, just saying, hey, look, we have a spree for the Integrex. We basically create the part, and then it's 99.9% pretty much ready to go. But the privilege of doing that is, $31,000 US for the software, then $5,000 US for a post, then $5,000 every year for your maintenance fee. So it's not like you just go, oh, do it once, that's it. It's like an ongoing fucking cost.
Well, you're right, and I've been over to Shane's shop, and I've seen. He showed me what his spree does, and that's one of the places that I looked at was a spree, and that's one of the quotes I got back, and I heard good things about it. But am I ready to throw that much money down yet? Not really. But I guess, I'm still from the old school method of like, hey, hey, Jody, your shop's got a spree, and you can fucking dick around on Saturdays anytime you want. I need this one tool path. What can we work out? And there's a lot of that still around. Matter of fact, these exhaust tips that I made over and over and over, that profile, whatever the fucking thing is on the lip there with a 3/8 end mill, that was some crazy shit that I wasn't going to figure out. But you know what? I got that done and sent to me for a fucking good bottle of whiskey. So.
Yeah. I don't disagree with what you're saying. It's hard, isn't it? Because you could say, well, where is the cost for it? But when something does just work and then you're up and running, that's then when you start weighing it up, right? Because we first got those NTXs, we got them in, and the guys, we had Inventor at the time, and we were dicking around, and I was going, and look, and it's not me programming this is the guys I've got here, and I'm going, like, what are we doing here? And I start sitting down talking to them and go, no, we can get it, but you keep saying that, and a week goes past, and another week goes past, and they go, dude, this is bullshit. We should just spend the money, and if we do want to investigate whether something else will be better for us later on, so be it. But it's a big cost, man.
Where I'm at, I might have used my 2006 Gibbs cam maybe like 15 times. So am I going to spend $27,000, $30,000 on fucking this spree to figure out one tool path and maybe not use it again for the next 3 or 4 years? I'm not always constantly sitting down getting, new stuff to look at. People still laugh at me when they go, hey, can you do this for me? I go, I don't know, let me take a look. Here's a model. I go, well, fuck you, I can't look at a model. How about a PDF? Can I see a print, please? And then I see it and I go, oh yeah, I can do that. Or no, you're in the wrong shop. But it's like, I've learned now that that's what it's all about. It's all about fucking models. It's all about importing it. It's all about tweaking it around, turning it around, and looking at it 50 million different views, and then spitting something out. And I'm like, yeah, that's not me.
The worst thing about looking at models is unless you like drag it into something or and put some dimensions on it, you're like, what, how big is this thing? What's it look like? Like we have a 3D printer in engineering, and that's one of like my favorite things about it is just like, because some of our prints are 12, 15 pages long, and God, I like having them like printed out, and then you can hold it and look at it, and you get kind of a better idea. Sometimes with models, you just get kind of lost in like the scale of things. And that's actually really cool, because we were looking at a 3D printer, because I was like, this will
this will help even just getting jaws ready. Like you can start manufacturing your jaws ready to hold on an op 50 or op 2 piece. So if you've got an actual physical thing to hold, I mean that makes a hell of a difference, right?
Yeah, I use it a lot for printing out fixtures for robots and any little. I use a lot of like little helper projects. Like one part I buff on the polisher, so I made this guard that basically protects the parts I don't want on the polisher, and then I'll be able to. I can turn the part with the inside of the 3D print, and it'll keep the edges crisp that I don't want polished, but do a good job for the polishing.
Do you print like gripper jaws for your robot?
Yes, I have done that. That's still, at least for the parts my size, it's still a little bit crude, but larger robots would probably work pretty good for that.
Well, I guess it's all dependent on, like you say, what you're picking up. Tony, we were just saying the having a 3D printer to actually print off a model, so then you've got a part. How cool that is to then be able to use that to get jaws pre-made before you've even sort of like utilizing that technology to sort of get ahead of the game, when you're doing setups and stuff, and those things are not really that expensive now, right? Like you can get pretty good printers for less than $2,000.
Maybe so. I don't know the price, but I've seen a lot of amazing stuff done by them and with them. That's one of the things that I also learned with this new Akuma that I have. Is like, there'd be times where somebody would send me a print or actually gave me a PDF and then asked me to quote it. And so I could actually program it and run it in my old Akumas. And the cycle time was accurate. I mean, it would actually run, face, turn, drill, blah, blah, and it would give you an accurate cycle time. But on this new one, you plug it in and it's like, it's not going to waste any time showing you exactly how long it takes to get from point A to point B. It just fucking blows by everything. And you're like done in 30 seconds. I'm like, and I asked the guy, I go, this is not right. And he's like, no, it's just proving the program. You're not here to watch it actually run. And when I told him that I used to actually pull cycle times off of that from my other machines, and he looked at me like I was kind of weird, but
no, I think that's wrong. I'm pretty sure on the P300 controllers, just like the older controllers, there's a setting, and you can say whether you want it to be like advanced time lapse or
I believe it,
or correct, or at least to within sort of 10%.
I believe you on that, because I mean, it's like, how when you have a section of things that you've changed and you put them in parentheses so that it'll skip by it. On my older Akumas, if I'm single blocking through, it'll even read those. I mean, it won't do anything, but it'll read it. But on this new one, it sees like if I have 10 lines, it just jumps by all fucking 10 lines and goes to something that's real. I'm like, well, who the fuck told you that was okay? It's like wasting no time. It just goes to the next active line. And maybe it is a setting. I don't know.
I'm sure, man, because to have when you dry run it through, because you'd see the little timer at the bottom going, blah, 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 and it would say, oh yeah, it's now 4 minutes 32 or whatever, and your actual cycle time might be 5 minutes, just for argument's sake. You know what I mean? So there's always a bit of error, right? But yeah. Then I'm pretty sure that must be a setting, because when you do that on your dry run and then the cycle time, like you said, says 23 seconds or whatever it might be, that's complete bullshit.
Yeah, I will actually write the program and then run it in machine lock, and it's like boom, it's done in like maybe 3 minutes, and then when I actually run the real part, it's like 6.5 minutes. So it's like, yeah, it's not 1-to-1 ratio is not there on this machine, but you could very well be right. It could be just a setting. But I mean, I guess in reality, who the fuck really wants to watch it run in real time when you're not doing anything? I guess.
Oh no, but I mean, you should be able to run it. So machine lock, and then just run it so it runs through the whole thing, and the cycle time should still be around about what You know, not run it in animation in real time. I mean that it should run through and still give you the correct, or as near as correct cycle time.
Yeah, not the case on this one.
Fuck, I need to test that out.
All right.
Okay. Hey, so Dan, are you using any software at all? Like,
Yeah, so I do a Fusion 360. So yeah, I'll do that for my mills, and then that kind of gets me by, like Tony was saying, for opening models and looking at stuff. And then if it's simple like 2D lathe stuff, I'll just program it by hand. And then if there's any complicated milling, I can kind of get it out of Fusion with like a general FANUC post, and then I'll kind of massage it so it runs on the Citizens. And then so I was just going to say to Tony, maybe that's something you should look into, where it's like get something that does it like 90%, and then you just kind of drop it into your code that is the stuff you can do, and then do your little engraving or whatever, and just drop that part into this thing that already works.
Because I think by all accounts the Fusion 360 will do just that, right? You could, it can create a good enough, as near as good, and then you just have to tweak it, and put your Tonyism on it, or your Danism on it, or your Jodyism on it, so that it's exactly sort of how you want it. Don't mean jizzing, Tony.
That's a lot of ism.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said ism and not jism, but yeah.
I know. Well, it's just like, that new machine that I'm running right now, there's no reason why that fucking part even needed to go over to the Haas to get part marked. It should have been done straight on the Akuma. It could have been done on the Akuma, but I don't have the CAD CAM-ism to pull that off. I mean, it's just not there. So I take it over to the Haas, and basically I just write in parentheses what I want the Haas to write, and it fucking writes it.
That's a shame, eh? Because I reckon, because you're right, and it might be, man, if you, I mean, I don't know what it would take to sort of get you up to speed with like a Fusion software to be able to do that on the Akuma, but that then opens up so many more opportunities for you, doesn't it? If you if you're doing it all through the machine, I mean, holy shit, and not having to handle it again.
Even if it was a serial number, it could have fucking changed the number as it fucking progressed through the parts. I mean, they're very powerful, but hey, I'm one man in the shop, all alone, doing the best that I can.
True.
Yeah, so I really don't have time. Gotta take care of Hank, and the CAD CAM is just, I don't know. The potential to be fucking much more powerful and greater is there with CAD CAM, especially with a machine that has unlimited capabilities. I mean, fuck, that thing could do anything. But
are there any new machines on the horizon, Tony?
Nah, no, there's not. Right now, I'm very happy with the two new ones that I have, and holy fuck knuckles, maintenance on the old ones are just ridiculous. We had a flange go out on one of the upper turrets on one of the older Akumas. Normally I run a lot of brass on one of those, and after I run so many brass parts that goes to turret, goes to index, and the piston seal gets embedded with all kinds of brass, and it slows down, and we have to yank it and pull it, and so they'll come pull the turret off, put a new piston seal on, blah, blah, blah. Well, last time they came to pull that off, part of the flange down below broke off. That was a part that wasn't even in stock anymore, so they had to actually make it in Japan. Which I thought, oh shit, this is going to be years and years. They made it in 14 days and got it shipped over to me. And I was able to have the guys, I said, look, this machine is running a super high volume part right now. I cannot have this thing down for 15 to a month. What do you think about putting it back together? It functions. Yes, something can get in there as far as oil and chips, but I mean, it's on the bottom side. I'm willing to take the risk to run this fucker and make parts. Will you guys do that for me? And so they put it back together, and they said, I think you're going to be okay. We ran it. And so then when the part came, we pulled it all back off. There was actually nothing up inside. And it cost me, by the time they were done with it, almost $9,000. And this is a 2004 machine.
Jeepers.
So, yeah. And I've already put $30,000 in one of the spindles on that same machine. And yeah, the maintenance and Yeah, that's what, like you were saying, Jody, when you buy something new and it runs so much faster and so much more accurate, and then okay, you put a high pressure pump in place of that now. Parts that I was running before where we'd have to actually stop after each cycle and open the door and see if there was chips hanging on an ID groover or something on a finished volume mill. When you got high pressure, you know, at 2000 psi blowing all that shit up, we don't stop anymore. We just leave it cycling and we set the counter and we're pulling the parts out as fast as we can. And it's just like, it is way an eye opener and way different. I mean, it was one of the best things that we ever did. If I could afford 2 more, I'd buy them. But I'm kind of actually happy to have 4 LTs in my tiny little shop, along with 3 more screw machines and some other support equipment. And it's a lot of shit going on right now. And it's like I said, man, give me material and we'll be happy.
Yeah.
It's the only scary thing I'm thinking about right now is the material shortage.
Just slight change of tact here. Just before we started, I was telling you that, you know, we as a family recently lost our dog. Right. You know, so, you know, that was a sad time for a family, and I know there's a lot of listeners out there that have shop dogs that come in, and Tony, you're the same. You know, I remember when you guys lost T-Bone, and you know that was it's a big deal, right? You sort of, you don't realize it until it sort of hits you, and you go, shit, that old dude was a cool dude, man. You know, it's
the thing is, Jody, and I've heard this from many dog owners. It's like, when they lose that dog, I've heard this more than, I could say, 10 to 15 times. You know, I was more sad when that dog died than my mother-in-law or my brother-in-law. I mean, because we become so attached to them. And they look at you with their eyes, and it's nothing but respect back and just loyalty. And it fucking hurts. It really does. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, man.
Oh, look, he was, you know, it's one of those things where when they're on their way out, they're on their way out, right? They start, like, they stop eating and everything else. And anyway, so I said to the girls, hey, where do we want to bury the dog? They said, oh, we'd like to bury the dog, like where Selma and I made this like wooden seat when we had lockdown. I think you might have seen a photo of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we made this cool, and Selma wanted to make a bench, and we did the bench. So she said, oh, I'd quite like to bury the dog near there, or cruise. And I said, okay, well, I can make a wee thing for it. So I start digging the hole. And it's on a hill, so it's not like, before you fucking say it, this is not like goulash. Well, guess what I found so I start digging this hole. Guess what I find in the hole?
Another dead dog.
Yes. Yes.
No way.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
Are you sure it wasn't goulash?
So we start digging out. Go.
Really been the perfect spot.
And how?
So we start. So like the ground is super hard, and then I went, "Oh, this is a bit of a soft spot." I went, "That's fucking strange." So we come down. I went, "No way! There's already a dog in the hole that I'm digging for the dog." So I just moved to one side, and I figure at least Cruz has now got a companion up on the hill to look out, so they can have some sort of weird ghost dog sex or whatever they're going to do, But of all the spots, you think, that's like literally finding a needle in a haystack, apart from it was a dog on a hill.
Yeah.
Obviously the perfect spot, but yeah, I thought I'd share that with you because I thought it was sad but funny at the same time,
I've got a story that's off tangent too, since we're going off tangent, because I never do that, but now that I will. You guys been keeping an eye on Secret Machine Shop?
Oh yeah.
So he's been doing a little bit of expanding and development and shit like that, and so then I was thinking about him and how he takes naps during the day and focuses and reflects and a little bit of meditation, this, that, and the other. And so some of the mornings when I wake up super early, whether it be a cat needing to go outside and pee or a dog needs to go outside and pee, or it's way fucking early, especially during the Christmas time when we got all kinds of lights going on in the house. So it's probably about, maybe about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. I woke up like at 4 in the morning and I decided to go out and sit on the couch and I turned the Christmas tree on. It was just all, low white lights. And I'm sitting there in my chair and I'm leaning back and just, listening to the clock tick and breathing. And I fall asleep and the wood stove's over to the left of me. And we don't use it. We haven't used it in a couple of years. We got candles in there to make it look like there's a stove going on. So I had those lit and I'm dreaming. I fall asleep and I'm dreaming, and all of a sudden, this freaking black demon object comes out of the wood stove. It's not funny. Comes out of the wood stove, looks at me, and stomps his feet across the carpet, and then jumps out of my fucking front room window. And so I'm one of these guys when I fall asleep, I try to scream so loud to scare it off. But I don't scream loud. I fucking make this noise like a fucking retard. Go, I was trying so hard. I tried so hard that Katie and the dogs were in the bedroom. That Dexter came running out of the bedroom, jumped on my lap, took his 2 fucking paws, beat me on the chest, and licked my face till I fucking woke up. And when I woke up and he was licking my face, I was super happy, but he was hitting me so hard that I felt my back crack also. It was like he was trying to wake me the fuck up. And once he did, super happy. But I mean, I wasn't really scared after that because it's like the demon came out of the wood stove, looked at me, realized he couldn't enter my soul. He was pissed. He stomped his feet and he jumped out the window. So I don't know what that means, but I think Dexter fucking saved me, man.
I think that means you got sleep paralysis.
What do I need for that, Shane?
I don't know.
Is it an ism?
Didn't you?
Hey, Tony, didn't you tell us a story as well? Like, was it like a couple of years back where there was like a ghost come through the window or something and floated above you and Katie and then ran out the door?
No, that was real. That wasn't a dream. Me and Katie were in bed and it was at the window and it said "Mom."
Oh, that's it.
It breathed "Mom," and we only had one girl left in the house, and I fucking ran full blast into her room and woke her up and scared her. And yeah, we moved our bed and shut that window.
Not surprised. But man, I'll tell you what, if you've got demons coming out of the fire, I think, I don't know, maybe you should change the fire or.
No, it was an old wood stove that's not even being used, but I mean, it's like, I think it's all me. I mean, it's obviously not the house. I don't feel threatened by any means. I just feel that I'm, coming to terms with what I need to deal with or what might be challenging me or, just where I am, because I really don't know where I am in life at this point. It's like, I wake up and do the same thing every fucking day. I come home and do my routine here. But other than that, there's not much change. And so it was strange. I mean, like I said, I had the glow of the Christmas tree and everything was good. And this thing came out and it wanted to get me, but realized I can't have you. And it was angry and it left. So I feel good about that.
I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to book a holiday to New Zealand. And you and Katie need to get on a plane and come over here for 3 weeks, travel round, go and see some sights, hang out with us, go and travel again, come back, hang out with us again, and then go back and feel rejuvenated.
I believe it. We've been talking about that. I mean, you gotta enjoy life sooner or later. I can't just fucking work all the time.
Yeah.
At the very least, you need to ride your motorcycle into the woods with a couple bags of mushrooms. Ooh. Stay out there a couple days, do some weird shit.
I might not come back.
Discover yourself.
Yeah, totally. So, Tony, do you feel like you're just going through the motions at the moment, and you're just contemplating what's next? Is there, because this is a legitimate, for somebody at your age now, and I don't mean that in any disrespect.
No,
I think we all get to a certain point, right? And when you've made some good grounds on the business and you've got some good successes, there's a point of reflection where you go, but what is it all for? Like if all you're ever going to do is the same shit every fucking day, you got to, again, I'm not trying to say this in any disrespect. No. You just gotta, you can understand why there are people at some point just go, you know what, I'm gonna sell everything up, and we're just gonna fucking buy a bus. We're gonna just go and travel. We're gonna enjoy the life while it's here, you know. Because I think the saddest thing would be is that, you know, if you got to, I don't know, 65 or 70, and then went, oh man, I can't do all the cool shit that I really wanted to do because I'm not physically able, or whatever it might be. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And man,
I think about that every day, Jody. You're 100% in my mind, and I've been bouncing that off of Katie too. It's like, look, we're working hard and we're trying to wrap back money and we're trying to make some name of our business, but it's like, if you do it all for naught, or you get to the end and you feel confident, like, hey, we did okay, but it's like, now let's get up and go. It's like, you know, what a waste. It's just like, I have an appointment next week to go down to the doctor to have my heel looked at, because on October 10th we went camping with Katie and some friends and our dogs, and we were out on the beach screwing around, and Katie and Poppy took off super fast, and me and Dexter said, fuck that, we're going to beat your ass. And I took off like a rocket, and I kind of felt the twinge in the back of my ankle. No big deal. We went home at night. We made dinner. We actually went to the camper, and then I woke up the next morning, jumped out of bed, put weight on my foot. I fucking felt like there was a 16 penny nail going through my heel all the way up into my ankle. I go, well, that's kind of smart. It was October 10th. So I keep going through the motions, go, it'll eventually wear itself out, or it'll eventually go away. It never did. So I went to the fucking doctor in December, and he goes, well, let's take an x-ray. He took an x-ray. I looked at an x-ray. I go, what the fuck is that? There's this big old freaking fish hook coming out of the back of my ankle. There's a fucking bone spur, and my Achilles is rubbing up and down it every time I make a move. And so he had me take that shoe off when he did the x-ray, but the other shoe was on, and I was still standing on the same panel. And he's all, yeah, that's kind of bad, but it looks like from your other foot, you've had it in that one too. And we looked at it, I go, yeah, I do. He's all, but that was not bothering you. So what he prescribed me was some rehab where these people are going to fucking take like metal bar ends or plastic bar ends and rub them up and down my ankle and try to break up the scar tissue and fucking keep me from causing pain. He goes, it's going to be gruesome, it's going to hurt, but eventually it might feel better. I'm like, holy fuck. I said, he goes, or you go get surgery. He goes, I could take you in, knock you out, remove your Achilles, take off that fucking spur, scrape your ankle, reattach your Achilles, put you back up, and you're going to be down for a long ass time. Well, you're talking about the only guy that fucking programs and set up all fucking 10 of these machines. Why am I going to be rolling around a fucking cart trying to do that? So,
you have one of those knee scooters.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Jody, is I've already been thinking, and it's like, I want to be able to fucking take the travel trailer and go see, you know, Mount Rushmore or some shit like that, or go camp out with Danny and have fucking s'mores or do something. Yeah. I just don't want to stay in fucking Ukiah, but every fucking year, I'm like I said, I posted today, I've had that new Akuma for a year already today. Yeah. My God, where does time go?
Would you? So if somebody offered to buy the business off you, like the whole kit caboodle, like would you have a price in your head that you'd go, and you don't tell us this, but you know, like if the offer presented itself, do you think you'd have the balls to do it, to go, you know what, fuck it?
That's just it. That's a weird situation to be in, because when I went through that shit with my ex-partner Neil, he for some reason thought our fucking business was worth $1 million. I go, well, how the fuck can it be worth $1 million? We don't have our own product. All we do is make parts for some other big company, and we have a machine that's outdated. I'll have a guy come through and price all the stuff of what he thinks he could auction it off for, but it ain't worth no fucking $1 million. And it's like, when it's all said and done, all you do is have your equipment and your tooling and whatever bar stuck or forklift or whatever you may have. I mean, it really ain't going to be worth all that much, in my opinion.
But then the goodwill. I mean, you've created your business has created a reputation for quality and, you know, delivery. You know, that in itself, if you can still retain the customers that you currently have, you know, generally speaking, it's 3.5, 4 times whatever your turnover is going to be what your business is worth plus assets. for example, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that might be that might be one way of thinking about it. That, you know, if you were to sell it and somebody come in, you might have to have like a 3-month handover or a 6-month handover. But you know, I don't know, Tony. I can sense there's something going on with you, and I just thought, oh, yeah. Sometimes it is. Change is as good as anything, right? You just.
It is. You know, people have told me time and time again was if you're going to be a job shop, that's fine. You may make a comfortable living, but the only really way to make a super good living is develop your own product and sell it. And well, I'm not there. I mean, I'm not super, you know, smart and, you know, have ideas popping out of my fucking skull about what I can make people need every single day. I mean, I obviously have the equipment that could fucking do it. You know, I have the electricity, I have the floor space, I have all the power and stuff that we can do. But I just, once you do that, then you need to have, you know, insurance and lawyers involved, because what if I make my product and you know, if it's a butt plug and accidentally goes it too far and kills somebody, you know, you have insurance for shit like that. And, you know, it's so, I don't know. I mean, we started this because I was commuting 2 hours a day down to Santa Rosa to another shop doing the same thing I was doing here, where I could just bail out and go to a kid's play 4 minutes away and come back and blah, blah, blah. But it's a lot of hard work. And am I any better than I was then? I don't know. I mean, I make a decent wage. I'm paying the mortgage. We have nice cars. And I got our dogs that we come home to and hang out with. And other than that, that's life.
Yeah. Shit, that's pretty deep. Dan, what about you? What's your grand scheme here? Are you planning to have the Swiss machining empire, where you're like the granddaddy, the godfather of Swiss machining, and you have all these minions just making you $1 billion?
No, I kind of feel like a younger Tony. I kind of it's kind of funny that you brought that up, because you know, this year we had a good year, we busted it, and but I kind of get that same feeling where it's like, what are we doing? But, you know, I'm hoping I'll snap out of that here shortly. But I don't mind going to work and unplugging and just kind of mindlessly running machines. Like, I could do that and not. It's the dealing with some of the customers that are kind of dicks, and you're like, I don't really need to put up with you if, you know, if I do something else or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in that, like, everything's at a point where I don't know. You know, we've been doing this for like 12 years, I think. And you finally get to that point where you're like, oh, I'd like to have a shop with all this equipment and do all this work. And then you get there and you really haven't planned for what next, because you were worried about getting there the whole time.
Huh.
So
what are you, so
but,
let's like realistically, if you could just tomorrow do whatever you want, like, you know, it doesn't, like, you don't have to worry about cost or whatever. You just, someone says, right, you can do whatever the fuck you want as of tomorrow. You know, what do you, I mean, and put it this way, like, when you hear people go, oh, I just spend the rest of my time like lounging around on a beach and, you know, drinking mimosas or whatever, I mean, that's not really a fucking plan. Like, no one wants to do that. I like working, but I think there's certain things I go, oh, yeah, I'd like to maybe do a year or two just doing an outdoor job, you know, like something where I'm just, I don't know, fucking mowing lawns or cutting trees down or whatever, just because it's different and I've just never done it.
Yeah. There's this garden. It's like it's an estate of DuPont. I don't know if you're, you know, like rich. Anyway, it's this huge estate, and it's like, it's cool just to think about. You know, that guy made a fortune and like built this expansive garden with fountains and everything, and now people just go there and hang out, and you kind of, in my head, it's like, you know, either you build something, like you got to take it to the next level, or you just kind of, I mean, you have that goal that you're pushing for, And like you do that by showing up to work every day and getting the work done and making a little bit of money, kind of stacking it up and pushing for it. And I have things in my mind that I want to do, not necessarily at work, because I think the model that we have, we've kind of pushed to where we're at. But I need, like another 10 years would build out some of my projects that I have in my head. But that's more like stuff at home and cool stuff to do. I'd like to go to Europe and Asia and all that stuff and see stuff, take the kids along,
Yeah.
do trips. But at the same time, you got to finance all that stuff. So you can't drop down and hit the road, because, and even if you did, when you come back to it, half your machines are going to be all messed up because they haven't been running for 6 months.
That's all it takes too. You shut them down, you wake them up, and they're like, we don't know where we are anymore. What the fuck? All we did was put you to sleep. My God. Yeah. No, I hear you. It's like, Jody, to answer your question, the last time I kind of had an inkling about being excited about something, but not really, because it was kind of scary. I was back and forth when we were trying to decide whether or not we were going to keep the business. Now, SpaceX the first time, and then they flew me down the second time to interview with the R&D shop. And I talked to like 15 guys that were my age and older. And it was like all still new equipment, but it was like, these guys get what machining's about. They're not fucking arrogant CAD/CAM babies. These guys are doing shit the way they should be doing it. However you choose your path to do it, do it. We've got a boss that wants it done. He's not going to be looking over your shoulder. And I was just like, wow. And then this feels like a fit to me, the camaraderie of the old guys and people helping each other out. And the guy that was supposed to be giving me the most time with the interview wasn't even actually able to spend that much time with me. But the other 4 guys that worked for him gave him such positive feedback that when he took me out on the golf cart, he goes, well, I sure hope we see you on Monday. That would have been exciting. Was it in the cards for me to fucking relocate my whole family and go down to fucking LA for the wage they were offering? No. Should I have rolled the dice and do what I'm doing here? Probably. And that's why I did. But it's lonely. I mean, it's just, I've got zero skilled help. There's nothing I can bounce anything off of. Anybody. I've got some workers that help me do stuff. But other than that, when I run into a problem, it's Tony, figure it out or not. And that part kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, maybe a male stripper. I feel like you're actually a male stripper. That would be the next. I think that's the next logical step. When you've got a powerful moustache like you have, it just really brings in this. Oh, my name is El Tono, and I have a big danger. Hey, Shanus.
No, we need to have fun. We guys need to have fun. It's like I would love to go work with Shane. I would love to be over there involved in that shop. It's a beautiful fucking shop. But I mean, I'm sure Shane has days where he's happy and whether he's just like, fuck this, let me out of here. These fucking little juvenile cunts, I can't even ask a question because they're on break. You know what? I feel for Shane all the time. I do.
Well, I think it really just comes down to like when you get to a certain level, and it's probably in any industry. It's like I feel like we all share that we're just problem solvers. We always need a problem to solve. I don't think we would be happy if we didn't have like a problem to solve in front of us. If it was easy, the same exact thing day in and day out, I don't think any of us would be happy. And back to like Jody saying, laying on the beach and sipping mimosas, like I wouldn't be happy doing that. I'd always need something to do, and it's like, I remember Tony telling me he had a guy that was working for him that I met, and he was like, yeah, that guy, every time we bring someone, he always asks him, what's your dream job? And he asked me, and I kind of thought about it for a little bit. And it was like, I think I'd like to do like a few years in Formula One. And I think I've talked about this on here before, is it's like, I feel like something like that would be so cool because you're working with literally every person you're working with is that, I mean, the tippy top pinnacle of what they do, and they want to be there, and everyone has the same goal, is let's get this stuff done, let's win. And like, that would just, for me, that would just be it. And I think I mean, listening to Tony and Danny, it's like the kind of the biggest gripe is just, other people, customers, this, that. There's always something that is in front of you that you have to solve. And when it's a person that's like getting in your way, that's either incompetent or doesn't care or isn't, I mean, I guess for lack of a better term, isn't on your level, whether that's your level of dedication, your level of understanding, your level of commitment, then it really just, it just brings you down.
Yeah, that's interesting because. Sorry, I was just going to say it's quite interesting because you're sort of saying that you actually want more pressure, more. I know you say you want to be in that industry that's, like you say, the tippy top as you described it. Yet you're also describing a super high pressure situation, which, sometimes when you're talking to us like in the group, and you go, oh my god, this is going on. It feels like, what am I doing here? And I think, shit, that's already sounds like it's quite a lot of pressure on you, and you would want to add to that. I find that quite interesting.
Well, with the right people involved.
Yeah, right.
That's the key.
If there's no support system there, and you're having, this amount of pressure put on you, and no one else is taking it seriously, or no one else seems to care, or it's just not a priority to them, then that's what kind of builds frustration, at least for me. But
it's like when you talked about racing, that's key, because racing is a team sport. Even when I go spend time at the drag races with Sackman and Antron Brown and all those guys, they all are focused, they're all in sync, and you see it. But then when you go out and you get to the semis and you have to get back and tear down and rebuild before that, you got so much time. And they're all working together in unison with fucking shit flying everywhere and air guns going off. And they're all, I mean, it's like a well-oiled machine. And they're all, that's the part that I'm talking about that I miss, is guys that get along together and do stuff together. If someone has a problem with you, Boomer, and you're like, you know what, we don't have time for this, you fucking piss off, we'll bring somebody else in that flows. And it's like, that's what I'm thriving for, even though as old as I am. I mean, I just really wish we had, 3 or 4 guys that would be like, hey, go take a leak, Tony, I got this, we'll fucking take over, and I come back and hand it off. But like when you're saying, whether we're running redundant parts over and over, we're doing mass production. People ask me, even out at SpaceX, you don't want to run production. Well, fuck, I have no problem with production. One of my goals is to try and make it faster, or, and more accurate. And it's like, in the meantime, while you've got stuff running and you're doing really well and you've got the best of tools and inserts, you kind of got some free time to fuck off. And it's like, in my own shop, I mean, I've joked about with you when I went and saw your shop in that big shop next door, you guys are going to do shit. And I thought, man, this would be a hell of a place for a fucking go-kart track. If I owned all that and we were running the Intergrexes and everything fucking full tilt and people are just pulling parts out like a motherfucker, I'd make it so entertaining that people would not want to leave. They would not want to go home. The barbecues would be running. The beers would be flowing after 5. There'd be go-karts running through the shop. There'd be people taking care of the fucking machinery. Why not make it fucking cool? I mean, there's got to be some place like that that's just that fucking cool. There's got to be. If not, we need to build it.
Yeah. Let's build it.
Let's build it. Well, build it and they will come, Jody.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I just feel like trying to find people with, that same attitude is just difficult. Like, we had this goes probably 5 years back now, but we had a guy, and I went over and, was in a good mood in the morning, and, hey, how many parts are we going to get? It was one of like our higher running machines. And I was like, how many parts are we going to get off today? And he's like, oh, I'm going to get 65 because that's what I got yesterday. And I was like,
Right.
let's get 67. And he was like, his face just like totally changed. And then like an hour later, I found him in the break room crying. And I was like, no, I'm dead serious. And I was like, hey, what's going on,
And
man?
they
You all
call me
right?
intimidating.
And he was like, nothing's ever good enough, blah, 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 like all
Oh
this
my
shit. And
God.
I was like, dude, that's called a goal. Like,
And you know what, Boomer? If you would have
if you
said
don't
that to
get
me, I would have
67,
said, okay, how we do that, Boomer? And you'd be like, well, maybe you would come back and say, when's your break? You go from break from 10 to 10:15. I'll come push the button for you 2 times while you're on fucking break. That's how you get it done,
yeah.
right?
Well, it was just like, it was kind of like I said, like, I feel like, I mean, I don't know, just people with no drive. That's just what wears on me, man.
Me too.
Like, I even if I mean, I ran our first L20 for, I think it was almost 4 months, running the same part. And every day it's like, I'm going to get more than I got yesterday. I'm going to get more than I got yesterday. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to find some time in this. And I don't know, just, I guess not everybody has that.
Yeah, not obviously.
Yeah, that's frustrating, and it's something I think I take for granted because my dad is that way of pushing, and then my wife is more of a steady, like, let's take it easy, let's not get crazy. It's like, no, let's get the stuff done today, let's get a little more done.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
I
for
got
like
to be
example,
careful how hard I push there.
yeah, for like example, like on our first L20, on the parts that we're running, I think we've run 6 part numbers on there, but one predominantly. And in the first couple months of us having it, I got like the record for like a 10-hour shift, and it was just broken like last week, and we've had that machine I think 3 years now.
Oh,
Cool.
wow.
So someone finally broke that.
Yeah, see, some people thrive for that stuff. Some people just don't. I mean, I remember going through Starbucks, the Starbucks that I go to all the time, maybe if like 5, 6 years ago. This guy Rich, he's not alive anymore, but he ran a tight fucking crew, and they were hustling and bustling. And I'm like, what's the scoop? Because they took my card and sent me on my way. I was like, well, we're trying to break so many fucking orders within an hour, and we're like 2 off, and they're just like trying to get you a drink and shove you through with a smile and a happy face. And it's like, well, I can appreciate that. I mean, it's just fucking
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, but they're trying to break the record. I mean,
You got to
that's
do
kind of what you
something
and
to
I
keep it interesting. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
I totally know what you mean.
like I said, if running the same part number day in and day out, at least for me, you got to put something there,
Yeah.
you know?
But you'd also, I think we're all of the same ilk, where if you were just running the same part day in, day out, you'd be looking through that window and you'd be going, there must be something I can improve here. There must be a small gap. I can close that window just a little bit tighter so I can get, one more part out an hour or whatever it is, And that's the thing that sort of you get off on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I agree.
definitely. I mean, at the old shop I worked at, we made these, they were like adapters for fuel injectors to adapt a bigger fuel injector to a like a stock fuel rail or something. And it was just this kind of just dumb little aluminum part. And I remember, I gave it was one of the first jobs that the owner ever brought out to me and said, hey, give me some times on this part. And I did, like Tony does. I programmed it in the control. I looked at the simulation. Okay, here's what I know I can do it in. And then, once they got running, it was like, okay, well, now I got to make, 10,000 of these things. And within the first week, I think I was down to half of what, we quoted it. And then I was still, like you said, looking in the window. I can tighten up that tool change. I can make it flow so much. That'll save me, a little bit. And we were just killing it. And that's, you know, that's part of the challenge. And that's what I've always enjoyed about this trade is there's always something out there. And it was like, even on LinkedIn the other day, I saw, I think it's Kyocera and Tungalloy or someone, or no, Freysia and Kyocera. Now they have 25 degree inserts.
I saw that too.
And I hadn't seen those before. And it's like, man, we do a lot of parts that got a cavity inside with a 60 degree, you know, relief in it or something, or undercut or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, you know, we're doing those with like ID groovers and stuff. And I mean, it does it fine, but it's like, man, I could rough it out with the ID groover and then come in and take a finish pass with this thing and just, you know, make it that much better, get a better finish and all this stuff. And not everybody has that, I guess.
Hey, before we finish up, what's
do you
have any New Year's resolutions? Are you guys like that at all, or do you just go, oh, well, fuck it, it's another year, who cares? Or have you set yourself? Have you got a little goal in mind? You know, it could be a personal goal or a business goal. Tony, what have you got?
Well, we didn't actually set a New Year's resolution, but Katie and I are working on a list of things to do to check off. And it's weird because we were just talking about this today, but I mean, this was years ago. We've been in this house for 27 years. And when we first moved into this house, we were just renters. And then the old folks said, you know what, we want to give you guys a chance to buy this before, you know, we pass away, because we're way old. And once we pass away, it's just going to go to the kids as a trust fund. So we found a way to buy it. But when we made a list of things we like to change, and the floors and the carpet and the walls and the porch, and it was just all fun to write it down. But as you actually start, you know, a year gone by and you could check things off, we actually got a lot of the shit done.
Cool.
And so we implemented that again this year. We're working on stuff that we want to do, and just actually writing it on paper and then being able to cross it off. It's huge once you cross it off. But I mean, any drastic changes, I think mentally for me, it's focusing on here and now and trying to enjoy every moment, and just, you know, not always be staring at the control. And the motorcycles help me a lot, even though I don't get to ride it a whole lot. But I mean, I still ride the shit out of it when I can. It's I took it for a spin. I mean, I'll take it to go pay the rent check, which is like about 2 minutes down the street. But I'll make sure I go all the way down through town, then hop on the freeway and drive at 80 to 90 miles an hour down the other end of town, turn around, come back, and then parking it in the shop and taking the helmet off, taking the jacket off, and it gets your blood flowing. It really does. Because on a motorcycle, you could die at any fucking given moment. Somebody could cut you off, you could hit a fucking pothole, or just, it feels good to get on that thing and fucking ride. And that's I need more of that shit in my life. And I guess when you just are doing the same thing over and over and over, you don't even realize you're doing it over and over. And that it becomes like muscle memory. You know, you wake up, you make coffee, you fucking watch how hard it's going to rain, and then you get in your car, you go to work, you warm up the machines, the guys come in, you run parts, you order material, you go home and start all over again. And it's got to change shit up.
You know, it's the end of the month.
It is. It exactly is. I mean, it's like, so I mean, Jody, I think you have a pretty exciting life over there. I know it's stressful at times, but kudos to you with the new building and the way it's growing, and the excitement it must be, even though you're moving some old equipment. I mean, that's always fun and exciting. I mean, it's action. And I looking through some of the videos that I posted today, it was like when the guys came in and took out some of my old equipment and brought in new. That was fucking super exciting. Yeah, I want to focus more on quality of life versus
good
things done.
That's important, Tony.
Yeah,
very important. Quality of life. And I know that you don't need to improve the right hand part of your garage door, because that looks really good.
It's gonna last a long
We've
time,
rebuilt that. That's good. Shanus, what about you, man? You got a personal or business sort of, you know, I know you want to be a Formula One driver, but that may have to wait.
I'd come watch him if he was.
Oh,
I'll be
yeah.
his biggest fan.
I wouldn't fit in that car.
No.
No. I think I kind of want to carve a little time out this year for myself. We got a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old. This year they're going to be 6 and 3. And last year I worked a lot, spent a lot of time there on my days off working. And I didn't really do a whole lot for myself. Like I went to a couple of concerts and stuff, but I want to do a little something for me this year, I think.
Cool. I had a dream. I had a dream about you the other day.
Oh yeah.
Was he a black demon stomping through your front room? I hope not.
That was the weirdest story I've ever heard in a while. But no.
Hey, I only share it with few select people, so you heard it.
Very good. Yeah. No, I had a dream that I went to the local pub and they had a band playing, and you were the front man for the band. You had got back into a band, and I was like, I feel like this is going to come true. Maybe not at the Little River pub, but I feel like you're going to join a band again this year, and you're going to thrash it out.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. No, playing music's fun. I haven't done it in quite a long time, but I broke my left when I was like, I think it was 18, 19, and I kind of never really got the dexterity back in it. And it was that kind of just like, it didn't ruin music for me, but it just frustrating where you get to a point where you can't, like, I wasn't as good. I couldn't play what I could play when I was like 13 years old.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also an age thing, surely.
Well, no, I couldn't get the dexterity back in my hand after the injury. And I mean, I started playing when I was about, I think 10 years old. And by 13, like I could play along to like Iron Maiden records and Metallica records and play all the solos and everything. And I can't even do that anymore with my hand. So I was just kind of, stuck playing rhythm. And like I said, it just kind of, it's like bittersweet playing. Like I still enjoy it, but it's like, I can't progress. I can't really go any further with it.
Is that why you retired and started making butt plugs?
Yes.
I knew it.
That is exactly why.
So you're not going to join a band, but you're going to spend more time for yourself.
Just a little bit.
Cool. I think these are two really good things. What about you, Dan? E?
Yeah. I didn't really make any resolutions. I generally don't do anything like that. But yeah, kind of patching the holes at work, some facility to do better air conditioning with all those machines running. So we're going to work on that. All the projects I have started, that robot and all that stuff need to get worked on. Yeah. And then we went up to Maine this summer. Had a great time. So I want to do some more road trips, thinking about next year, what we want to do, like cross country kind of thing. At least is what I'm thinking, like 2-week, go across the US. So thinking about that.
Cool.
What about, is there anything we can help you out with? Like maybe a GoFundMe or something with your daughter in her eyes, trying to get him straightened out. Especially when she eats ice cream.
I don't think there's enough GoFundMe out there to straighten her eyes out.
Every time I see her, I think you're putting her up to it because I'm watching.
No, she just does that, and I'm like, well, I got to take a picture now.
That's awesome. It's actually awesome. Cool. Righto. Well, is there any passing thoughts before we leave? Are we? Just one last thing.
You didn't say anything about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your thoughts about yourself?
Well, I'm gonna try and keep it exciting. I think you're right, Tony. The new building has been really cool, and when I go to work, I try to always go to work with a positive attitude. I want work to be fun if it can be, you know. And like you said, I try to be. You can't ever be like if you say to yourself, I want to be the cool boss or whatever, you're never going to be the cool boss, right? You've just got to go in, be yourself, and hope that other people sort of get energized by the way you are. But so for work-wise, I've got a lot of cool projects coming through with the robot and stuff, and I think that's going to keep me busy for the rest of the year. And so I'm actually okay with that, with where I'm at. And then personally, I think just the same as you guys, just have a little bit of time for yourselves and your family, and make sure that when you need to take a break, you got to take a break. You really do have to take a step back and say, you know what, I actually, let's go to the movies, or let's just go for dinner somewhere, or let's just walk with the dogs, or whatever it might be, and making sure that you do live for the moment and not get lost in the drudgery that can be the day-to-day.
Yeah, I agree.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know, and maybe I could become Chuck Norris. I'm not sure. I've been trying to do the splits, but hasn't really worked. Maybe because the jeans I was wearing are too tight.
Well, if you become Chuck Norris, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to get on a plane, fly over there, and John Wick your ass.
True. Yeah.
Well, when do you guys think we're ever going to see each other again?
This year.
What's happening?
I don't know.
All right, I'm on the edge of my seat.
You're all gonna buy a ticket and fly to New Zealand and come and hang out in New Zealand.
Come in, or I think he's slowly turning into Chuck. There he is.
Sorry, I was having some Elon Musk internet issues. So,
yeah, Starlink's fucking up.
Yeah, that's no good.
Shit on me.
So what I was going to say is, you guys need to get on a plane, come and hang out, and there's no IMTS this year. However, I may be going to emo at the end of the year. I don't know if everybody fancies a trip to Europe and we all hang out in Europe. I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah, sip some cappuccinos, be a fun time. Eat some, what are they, stroopwafels?
Yeah.
Stroop? Yeah.
Those little waffles with the caramel in them, those are good.
Yeah.
I like that. And some German beer. Very nice.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Hey guys, so thank you everybody for listening. As always, we have been here to talk and ramble. I'm sure we are going to at least do another podcast within the next 6 months, but ideally it'll be in the next 2 weeks. We'll see how we go. If everybody's still on board and we can get the timing right, then I think we're good.
Yeah, we're going to have to do another one because we're going to have to stop it.
Oh, fuck, you're right. Okay, we do have to do that. We're not doing that today though.
Not today.
There's no time today, but
we're not doing that today. No. This was the well needed. Yeah. Big backload. Yeah. Okay, you've been listening to Machinist Therapy Hotline. It's a big thanks from me, and it's a big thanks from Dan.
Yeah. I don't know. It's getting late here. I'm zoning.
And it's a big thanks from Shane.
Thank you all for listening to Machinist Therapy Hotline.
And it's a really big thanks from the man who can, Tony Klauser.
I'm just so fucking excited that we're back on the air, and I missed you guys so much, man. I mean, just you've been sending me messages after messages after messages, and I mean, we're here. It's alive. We're going to do it. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again over and over and over. We're going to make Danny talk so much more. He's going to talk so much. Your fucking ears are going to melt. So just be ready. Stay tuned. Get ready. It's coming at you.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be Isamin everywhere.
With a capital I.
Okay, bye bye.